Maduro's arraignment, and it's funny because I'm finding out that it's the same day that the Epstein files were due, and what a distraction. What does this mean? He's calling it a hoax, trying to make it go away completely. Like, what are we going to see now as a result of this? They're trying to argue that it's about drugs and narco-terrorism, but Maduro was one of the world leaders to come out and speak out against Benjamin Netanyahu and the acts of Israel. He was also good buddies, and the countries worked hand in hand together with Cuba. So talk about trying to stifle communism, socialism type economies of scale that could actually get somewhere and do something with their resources. Instead, come in, stifle the competition, take the resources, and then call it a failure. Say that then you can still keep the narrative going that socialism and communism just don't work. Capitalism is the only way. Capitalism is the only way to prison. We're in late stage capitalism right now. How much longer is this going to continue, where we can't afford shit, where we're working 2 or 3 jobs just to end up with nothing? How much longer is all of our profits going to keep going to the billionaires and the oligarchs? How sustainable is it really, what we're doing right now? How sustainable is this? We can't afford rent. We can't afford groceries. We can't afford insurance. Doctors are spending hours on the phone with insurance companies just trying to get coverage for their patients who the procedure was done over a year ago, and the insurance companies still don't want to pay for it. Now the doctor has to invest their time and try to recover that compensation when the doctor willingly accepted that person on as a patient and did the procedure. Now they're just trying to get paid for it, and they're having to go through that shit. That's not sustainable. The system is designed to profit off of us in every single way. We have to buy insurance, but then we pay the medical system directly. But then insurance pays itself through the medical system. Big pharma, the banks, insurance companies and loans. All of this shit is meant to extract the money from us. And then when we need it, make it so difficult to actually acquire it that we give up, or we can't afford the legal battle. So it just goes away and we eat the cost anyway. That's where our profits are going. It's by design, and they've had the time and the decades to sit there and think about how they can shape the laws so that it makes it impossible for business to be done any other way except for the profits to be funneled directly to them. And if you try to fight back against it, there's so many protections in place that make it seem innocent, that you actually need lawyers to look over this stuff, and it becomes so complex that no one wants to deal with it or hear about it. They would rather talk about the easy things. Well, it's not just being simple and stupid in this day and age. That's all we should have to worry about, is the easy things, the joy and the love in life. Let's not worry about complex situations and trying to get out of paying the bill on things like these insurance companies do to doctors. And instead, why don't we make it just a general thing? Things are covered in this country. That's just what happens. Let's stop giving money to foreign countries who are committing genocide on top of it. And let's stop trying to stifle other countries who have great resources and actually could do something with their economy, like socialism, like making things available to their people. instead of just squandering it and channeling it to the billionaires like they do in this country. Anything that's going to threaten that globally, they're trying to squash it so that there can't be an example made of those they're trying to make an example of those countries as that it failed, but they're making it fail before it even started. And then they're ushering those profits straight into the same hands where our profits are going. And we wonder why we're so broke. The spending power that they had in the 70s was, you could build a house for $25,000. And what happened to follow that in the 80s, when all of those profits started to go to them instead of us, and our spending power started to get less and less and less and less. It's not just inflation, but it very much is the inflation and the printing of more money and the not being backed by tangible things, only ideas, and all the laws and legislation and mandatory things that we have to go through, and the cost of sending your kids to school, the cost of living, everything has gone up because of the profits going to the billionaires. It's all tied together. When people try to make an argument, they say, yeah, well, what about this? What about that? What about that? And try to itemize. It's like, no, you don't itemize. You don't understand. They've had control and they cornered the market. It's called a monopoly for a reason. And they have all the pieces now. They have all of the properties. We have nothing. And all we can do is work. But when they decide how much we make, and when it's not enough to even be able to go around the board adequately, that's when it becomes a problem and it becomes unsustainable. Capitalism is unsustainable. We need to figure something else out. And as long as our country keeps reinforcing and backing and stifling other countries now, illegally, mind you, in the name of security, again, to quote one of our founding fathers, men who would trade their liberty for security deserve neither. Let's remember that when we're backing a president who's doing exactly that. Gare Bear came out and said that Maduro's in the same prison as P. Diddy and Luigi. Those three together would be if they could start talking about shit and actually like come up with a thing. I'm seeing a lot of references too to ants and the bug's life, and how the grasshoppers and the wasps or whatever it was, one ant being nothing, but if all the ants realized this is our time, we need to stand up for this stuff, this shit, because we have the opportunity now to be strong and to stand up united and not let this kind of stuff divide us anymore. They're trying to insert divisiveness into our culture. They're trying to get us to fight about not just whether our president was a pedophile or not, but whether or not the people that are going to defend him. So now we would unite normally with like Trump supporters because we understand that he was the lesser of two evils, but if we just can't get over this pedophile thing and we label them all as pedophile supporters, that's another divisive act. Like, we can't unite with these people then. So it keeps us divided. We need to squash all of the narrative that they're trying to paint the lines that we draw against each other, and realize that we are all in this together, and now's our time to stand.